I'm William. This is the wine room at Putnam Market in Saratoga Springs, upstate New York, and plague is on the menu today. I'm talking about the Phylloxera epidemic in late 19th century Europe. The vineyards are dying. There's perhaps 75% less of France under vine than there had been in 1850, and that, of course, did terrible things to the economy. It did terrible things to the production of wine, which fell from something like 2,000 million gallons to around 4.5. And not only that, it provoked the most extraordinary outpouring of possible ways to combat this pestilence. In Beaujolais, for example, the south of Burgundy, young boys were taken out of their school classrooms and marched into the vineyards where, in order to cure the vines, they were told to urinate on the vines. I'm sure that the schoolboys were only too happy to comply. It sounds like quite a caper. Unfortunately, it had absolutely no effect on the disease. In Italy, meanwhile, they were perfectly sure they knew what was causing the problem with their vineyards. It was indeed the newly opened railway between Milan and Turin, and so they ripped the rails up of that in the hope to cure the vineyards, and none of that worked either. But a further unexpected consequence of the Phylloxera epidemic was the opening outside Paris in the 1870s of a second absinthe distillery owned by the Pernod family. And if those of you who remember their Degas and all of those impressionists will remember that absinthe is intricately associated with them and their artistic visions, and indeed their mental fragility. And the reason, of course, that they were drinking absinthe was not necessarily because they liked it, or certainly that it had any hallucinogenic properties, although indeed it was indeed extremely strong. The reason they were drinking absinthe is there wasn't any wine.